I just want to say this isn't going to be one of those heady, slow-paced Camino videos that goes like this. The Camino changed my life forever. Walking solved all my life's problems. It was beautiful in the way words can't describe. It fixed all my IKEA furniture. A lot of those things are true, especially the thing about the furniture, but I think that style of video, including literally the last thing we made about the Camino, can easily give the impression that you're going to spend all your time on this thing walking in silence across endless expanses of super hot, middle-of-nowhere Spain, exclusively praying and visiting churches while sleeping in gigantic bunk bed-filled hostels with like 40 other sweaty pilgrims, while gaining a profound fear of bedbugs, all while working through some gigantic personal life problem, and that the Camino is exclusively for that. Now that's definitely one way to do it, but we want to show you a different way. The other side of the Camino de Santiago. The lighthearted, fun, beautiful break from our usual busy, complicated lives where we get to go and do something really straightforward for once. Eating delicious food, drinking tasty wine, getting some quality, uninterrupted time with each other, along with some really good exercise, and getting to see a spectacular place at a very relaxed pace. You can, of course, bring some emotional baggage along with you to sort out along the way. I mean, we certainly did, but you don't have to. Now this is our second time walking the Camino, and this time we're doing it Portuguese style, going all the way from Porto to Santiago over the next 2-ish weeks. And this time, we're doing everything different. Well, we're still in a $100 per day budget, and we're still walking the whole thing, but everything else we're doing different. 18 hours later, we are on our last flight to Porto to start walking every day for the next 2 to 3 weeks.
We just got to Porto and it feels incredible. We love the city, but there's something special about coming here to start our second ever Camino. There's something about Quest, there's something about the Camino that just keeps us coming back, and we've been talking about the Camino ever since we did it almost 2 years ago. I'm excited.
Before we could hit the road, we first had to pick up a few essentials. You don't really need much to walk the Camino. In fact, the less you bring, the better. I brought a very small backpack on purpose. What we learned last time is you should bring way less stuff than you think on this, because you gotta carry it the whole way. Some dry fit layers, check. Pretty chic, huh? Blister treatment things, check.
Let me see it.
Backpack, check. Dad hat, maybe not this time.
Who am I?
No.
Who am I?
Maybe I need like a packable rain jacket like this thing.
Waterproof jacket, check.
I think I'm good to go.
Some local food, check.
God, it's so good.
And then, I mean...
Okay, fine, we'll get some. This one's really good.
A game plan, kinda check.
So we gotta head to the cathedral, get our pilgrim's passport, so that way we can be official pilgrims and complete the Camino in an official fashion.
That was fast. We got our pilgrim's passport. They were €2 each, and it's already stamped by the cathedral for us, so we didn't have an official... Is that how it goes? Pachonk.
Pachonk. Yeah. Okay, I think we got everything that we need to leave tomorrow.
Okay, all our Camino homework is done. It's time to carb load and get ready to start in the morning.
Carb loading for tomorrow, day 1.
The start line is the Porto Cathedral at the tippy top of the town. You gotta earn it to get up there, but man, what a place to kick off an adventure. Okay, no more putting this off, no more sightseeing, no more preparations. We're ready. It's time. The start line is right here, the first of thousands of yellow arrows pointing us to one place, Santiago.
This is the first step of our Camino Portuguese. Are you ready? Actually, the best way is that way along the coast. So, that way.
Well, that's an auspicious start. Finding our way around this ancient city, what with all its windy alleyways and tons of stairs that just go nowhere, was a bit of a challenge, but as always throughout this journey, the right thing to do is look for those yellow arrows. As this is a choose-your-own-adventure sort of experience, there are a couple of different route options once you leave Porto. Here's how we're thinking about it.
So as we were looking up the Camino Portuguese, we were trying to decide which route to take. Because there are actually 4 different routes. So one of them is the coastal route, and that's the one that we're on right now. And then the other one is the littoral route, and that's also the one that we're on right now. The central route, which we're gonna be hooking up with in about a day and a half, and that's more central inland. I think that'll be nice, and we're gonna be getting there in a couple days. And then there's the spiritual way, which is basically the same as the central route, except right at the end it just kind of like whoop. Whip. So the way that we decided is we looked up all of the different routes and what people recommended, and what we saw over and over was take the coastal route for the first day and a half, and then after that go right up to the central route and then take that all the rest of the way. It makes me realize that it's probably time for me to book us a place to stay. It might have to be sooner than we think. How do you feel about staying at a mobile home tonight?
What?
It'll be cool.
And with Porto finally in our rearview mirror,
Felt my first drip of rain. Is it the first day of Camino without some rain?
Yeah. I mean, we knew this was coming, but I didn't think it'd be this fast.
Still a struggle.
ah yes, here comes the rain. But don't worry, just as we were about to turn this thing into some moody, gloomy, woe is us, it's raining on our first day of the Camino documentary, the rain stopped.
There's skies ahead and you can see the water.
All right, so we're about 6 kilometers in. We're just passing a town called Foz de Douro. It's this beautiful little seaside town just a little bit west of Port. We haven't had any like breakfast or lunch yet, but we also haven't seen any other pilgrims. So on the last Camino that we went on, there were a lot of restaurants that were like pretty specifically open just for the pilgrims. We haven't seen any of those yet. All right, this is our first official stop on the Camino. So the name of this place is here. One of our biggest regrets on the first Camino that we did was that we didn't stop enough. We were always moving all the time. The first day we literally hiked all like 31 kilometers, just straight. We didn't even stop for lunch. We ate our sandwich as we were walking because we were just so worried that we weren't gonna make it on time. And one of the things that we really wanna do differently on this Camino is just stop more frequently, a couple of times a day. Take it at a very different pace than we did the first one. Not so pants on fire, and a little more having a glass of wine 1 to 3 times a day. That was just perfect first place to stop. Delicious, the people were super nice. And now comes the hardest part of the day, which is getting moving again after sitting down after walking a long distance.
Just as we were getting lost in the view of the incredible coast, we saw another arrow.
Our first sign in a really long time.
Got our first stamp, of which you need 2 per day to make this an official Camino. Picked up a couple of shells, the icon of this whole thing. We even saw our first other pilgrim.
I was like having a little bit of second doubts about walking the coastal route this morning because of the weather and it takes a little bit longer, but this is great. I feel like we should keep walking the coastal route.
We were moving slow but steady, still kind of getting our Camino legs under us.
All right, we got like 2 miles left, a little over 3K, and the wheels are really starting to fall off. My feet are so tired. Lisa's having to stop for stretch breaks every 5 minutes. We're definitely feeling our lack of physical preparation for this thing for sure.
I think that means it's time for another rest stop.
Closed?
Yeah, close for the season.
Bummer.
This is definitely one of the things I was worried about on this particular route, especially during this off-season winter that we're in. All those places, like 8 in a row, closed, 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 and not just closed for like today, but closed for the season. This one's the right one for sure. This one, it's like kind of falling apart. Maybe it could be a dive bar. And closed for the season. Luckily, we're like 30 minutes away from our place to stay for tonight, so we're almost there. We made it. We did. I don't know if anybody's ready for us, but we're coming.
We just checked in. They were really awesome and nice. I'm excited. And they sold a bottle of wine. This was only $3.65.
We booked this place and almost every place in the Camino while we were on the way to it. I mean, you usually don't have to plan ahead, and we found it's actually best not to, as the weather can be pretty unpredictable and you might walk a lot less or a lot more than you plan for the day.
Ooh, special smells. This is so cute.
Room tour.
Room tour. This is our little mobile home for the night. First I go, oh, that's nice. This is the kitchen and dining table. We have a dining table, which is pretty cool. And it looks like maybe you could fold out the dining table to make another bed. Floor to ceiling doors and windows. It somehow looks a little bit like we're on a ship. It's a little firm. One pillow is bigger than the other.
Dibs.
I think it's a luxury to have your own bathroom while you're walking in the Camino. We love hostels and albergues, but gosh, this is nice. We have a little stove, and then we have a mini fridge, so we should put our bottle of wine in there for later. This was, what, 42
€42.
42 euros a night.
Oh my god.
Best part of the day. Yay.
Yes. Day one. 16 miles. Let's go
Time
eat.
to eat.
Let's go eat. Let's
Yeah.
go eat. Okay, so it appears the same rules still apply here as they did in Spain, which is that we are always going to be too early for every single meal that we want to eat. Every restaurant around here opens at like 6:30, so she pointed us to a bakery on this handy dandy map right down here. See, I think we're just going to get a bunch of baked goods, maybe a hamburger if they sell something like that, and then head back and drink our bottle of wine back at our little cabin. Today went pretty well.
Cheers to that.
So, topic of conversation tonight over the dinner. Topic of conversation is first
Topic of conversation.
yeah. We need a name for this segment. Wine and dine. Because
Wine and wine time, like WHINE.
we'll think of something. Okay, so topic of conversation tonight is first impressions of the Camino Portuguese.
I just love the route, the ocean.
Absolutely gorgeous. 10 straight miles of boardwalk was just incredible. I think we're settling into the Camino rhythm quicker than we did last time. It feels like it, at least, in that we probably didn't at all last time. But we only saw one other pilgrim all day.
Could be the time of the year.
For sure that.
And there's so many different routes.
Wine and mime. Just mime.
We're actually talking.
Mime the whole conversation. Wine and recline.
Ooh. Can you see it? He's reclining right now.
Let me do that again. Wine and recline.
That's pretty nice.
Feels like the right way to end the day. I don't know. You want some more wine?
Sure.
All right.
Wine and recline.
Wine
Bye.
and recline.
I'm out of frame now.
See you tomorrow.
Chilly one today. Did you know that it's apparently supposed to snow in Porto? Got my tea. Let's go over the game plan. Starting from Le Bruges, just a little bit south of Le Bruges, and we're gonna keep going up the coastal route here until we make it to Vila de Condo. And then we're gonna cut across this route that doesn't actually exist to get all the way up here.
to rates.
Pretty sure it's not rates.
I don't know, that's what it says. There's still quite a bit left to go on this Camino. We end all the way up. Hold on. We end all the way. It's not even on the map. So yeah, we're basically making it up as we go along today. We haven't booked anywhere to stay for tonight just yet, and honestly there doesn't look like there's a lot of availability. What I'm really hoping to have happen is that once we connect up with the main, like the central route, somehow we're gonna start feeling this Camino a little more Camino-esque, because all of yesterday, all of our first day was just us with the exception of seeing one other pilgrim. And I'd just like to connect with more. It's pretty good.
So we left our cozy little mobile home in a campsite in the middle of nowhere to start our 28 kilometers of walking with no plan and no place to stay yet. This is the way.
I am not sure how the central route is going to beat this because the ocean is incredibly beautiful. It is very windy, very chilly, so I could see how, especially if it starts raining, that it's going to be very uncomfortable. It's so beautiful, and you can't get lost, you just follow the coast.
The coastal route is the second most popular of the Portuguese route, but since only like 20% of all pilgrims walk from Portugal in the first place, it's way less visited than the big granddaddy of them all, the French way. I mean, we expected it to be less busy, but not as remote as this. We kept walking through sand dunes and empty fields and across bridges until we made it to lunch.
So we're on the hunt for food, and there are a lot of different options here. Some that are like 15 euros, 20 euros per plate, which is a little bit out of our budget. But then there are a lot of cafes, or they call them bars here, and I think that's our jam, where we can get a latte, maybe a beer, maybe a sandwich for like 5 euros.
Many of the restaurants along the way will offer heavily discounted lunch and dinner options called pilgrims menus, which are delicious meals served in gigantic portions at very reasonable prices.
God, yes. Yes.
This is always the right choice.
This is a big fried pork cutlet right here. French fries on the side. You guys know how I feel about French fries by now.
3-course meal with a white wine for 8 euros each.
That is a generous pour of wine. I think there's like half a bottle in here. Spirits are lifted.
I messaged a couple of guest house or casas, and I don't know, I haven't heard from them yet. In the meantime, vino, verde.
These things always have a way of figuring themselves out.
Nothing like a good stairmaster after a lunch and a wine.
The city's just blowing me away, like all these huge arches. I don't know if they were old aqueducts. It's just amazing. They're just right through the center of town, just forever, as far as the eye can see. I mean, even keep going further that way. Oh, so cool.
You know, things were actually going pretty well. I would say suspiciously well.
It just keeps going. This whole route so far that connects the coastal route up to the central route. Maybe this is just the new boardwalk, so we're just gonna follow this thing the whole way.
But then,
One of the guest houses, and they said, "Hello, I'm sorry, but I can't receive you because the house is under maintenance." There's only 3 total accommodations available, and one of them now says they can't house you. Starting to panic a little bit. I don't know.
there it is. You see, this is the part of the Camino where it forces you to let go. It made me let go of my preconceived notions of needing everything to be predictable, of my incessant need for control over things that don't need it, my need to figure everything out before it even needs figuring out.
Today's been mostly navigationally lost. Like, we've been following the aqueducts, and then that all of a sudden stopped. They just kind of walled off the pathways on either side of it. So now we're just on random side roads trying to get back to the aqueducts to then continue our way up. I'm really hoping that this place gets back to us for a place to stay, because we are starting to get tired.
Where are we? This is one of those roads where you're just like, should I be here? Is this actually going to take me to where I need to go?
Yeah, we're about out of gas. We've probably walked like 16, 18 miles already today.
Also, do you see that thing?
The tractor driver was obviously super confused as to why we were in his backyard, but he nicely pointed us in the right direction.
Ah! He messaged us back. They have a room with a private bathroom available. Should I take it? Yeah, right?
Yeah, how much is it?
50 euros.
Sure. Yes. That's awesome.
See, I told you it'd be fine. The Camino provides always.
Oh, only about a mile to go. Sun is shining, no rain. It's so beautiful. We're surrounded by all these amazing eucalyptus trees. It smells so good here. And tractor free.
Civilization. The town. Just like yesterday, you know, we're like 15, 16 miles in and the wheels just fall off. Somehow that last kilometer just goes by super easily. And I think it's because we know that there's a bottle of wine and some delicious food on the other end of it. Hey! Room tour?
In a little bit.
Another great guest house, a delicious meal,
I'm starting to become predictable.
a bit of wine and recline time, and off to bed we went.
All right, we're gonna call it a night. We gotta get up early because it is supposed to be raining for the next 2 straight days and we wanna make it to the next town before it starts pouring.
Yeah.
All right, wish us luck. See you tomorrow.
What time is it?
This is day 3 of our Camino Portuguese. Today we are walking from Rates all the way to Barcelos. Should be a pretty short day. 10 miles, maybe a little less than that.
Surprising amount of sand from our beach walk yesterday.
We should probably go there. Did I get a donut for breakfast? Yes. Today's a pretty short day actually. We've only got like 13 kilometers, so like 8 miles, something like that. That's half as much as we did yesterday and the day before, and honestly, we need that kind of break today. Our bodies have just been kind of falling apart. Maybe it has something to do with this and the half bottle of wine that we eat every day.
More wine than water. But it's sunny, yay!
Everything's going good.
And we got some smiles and some bon caminos from the pasteleria. I'm excited.
Such a good start. Such a good start.
This was a feeling that we never had on our last Camino.
Beautiful piece of pastry that I think is like a croissant, but it's got a nice glaze and it's so soft.
We could have. Every day could have felt just like this, but our mindset was so stuck in the idea that it had to be hard and it had to be transformative and it had to be punishing, or else we wouldn't see any changes along the way. There's something that we have to address here that we haven't yet, and that's why are we doing the Camino again? Like, why choose to walk 250 kilometers across Portugal into Spain right now instead of, I don't know, flying to Thailand to make some more videos about ice cream rolls? Out of all the places in the world that we could go, why do this?
When we first told people that we were going to start our Camino, we got a lot of again, exclamation mark, question mark. A lot of people were surprised, probably because 1, yeah, it's a long walk and it's a long journey, and 2, we had some rough times on the first Camino, mostly in our mindset, and we were pretty open about it. Yeah, it's not the highlight reel that I think people think about when they think about traveling or going on an adventure. It's a lot of cool things that you encounter on the way, beautiful nature, but it's also a lot of just this.
I know we said at the beginning that you don't have to have some big problem to work through on this, but we definitely brought one with us. In fact, this is me right before we started this thing.
The real reason that I want to do this is to get rid of this just anxiety, this pervasive anxiety that's just been weighing me down for the past couple months. I feel like I gotta explain this further because when you watch our videos, that probably doesn't come across, but it's all these like in-between moments that I have that just... And the absolute worst part of this thing for me is that suddenly, out of the blue, for no good reason, I am just terrified of flying now. Just terrified of it. Listen, I know logically it doesn't make any sense, right? Like, flying is by far the safest form of transportation by like a mile. And that's probably the part that bothers me the most, is that it just isn't logical at all. Like, I can't think my way out of it. I mean, can you imagine a travel YouTuber afraid of flying? Gah.
I think this is how a lot of people's Caminos start. They feel that something is just off with their lives, but they can't name it or figure it out because they're so busy with their day-to-day. Your reasons for doing this may not be as heavy, or they might be a lot heavier. But you don't have to come on here with expectations to change your life. Through the magic of the Camino, that'll probably happen as a result of doing this anyway.
When you're doing such a long walk like this, your mind goes inwards and you become very introspective. And I would say there's not a lot of travel, not a lot of trips, not even a lot of journals that can do that.
Okay, so we're about halfway through right now. I've been walking for like 2 hours. It's just mostly walking like right on a highway. So it's really, really loud all the time. Kind of feeling like we might have made a mistake coming up to the central route instead of staying on the coastal route. At least it was mostly quiet there. Is that right? Oh, okay. Okay, so we're just on the outskirts of Barcelos right now. We've just been walking totally straight today, no stops. We're just gonna make it across the bridge. We got maybe 1 more mile to go, and then we're gonna grab some food. It doesn't look like it's gonna rain quite yet, but it looks like the weather's gonna turn in another like 2 or 3 hours. Oh, that's nice. I'm really getting used to these Pilgrim's menu of the day. This was all €7. Soup, bread, wine. Plus, we both got a pork fillet that's coming in a second. Perfect way to take a break. And always super nice people. Always super nice people. I'm really loving this country so far.
This might be the best meal that we've had so far. To just cross the bridge now, get to our place of stay tonight. So close. There's a rooster. Our first lanai. Ooh, automatic. We haven't seen those in a while. Construction. Cute street.
Now this might look lame, but this is a crucial part of the Camino. On our first Camino, we wanted to explore and keep moving as soon as we got to our destination, but we noticed everyone just passing out as soon as they arrived at their hostel or hotel. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. When on the Camino, do as the Pilgrims do.
Why?
We wandered out into a suspiciously empty town in search of dinner. We were looking for something budget-friendly, but it ended up being very, very expensive in a different way.
So we definitely slept in a lot of it too much, and basically all the restaurants are closed here in this town, so now the only thing open is a supermarket. That's where we're heading right now. These prices.
So I got some rice and meats and this chicken soup that I'm very excited about. And vino verde, most importantly. Ooh, it's sparkling.
Okay, it is time once again to wine and recline.
And dine.
And dine. We got the very exciting chicken and potatoes dish, continuing with the exact same meal I've had basically every day.
Rice with like some kind of pork chicken soup with eggs and couscous.
So, topic of conversation for today. Why do people do the Camino more than once?
Including us.
Like us, yeah. Hold on, I gotta eat some of this friggin' chicken.
The soup is okay. It was $1.80 though, so.
Pilgrim's meal remains undefeated as the best value that you can get while you're traveling here for sure. So there's this whole group of people that just do this experience over and over and over again. And I think that's really interesting because you don't hear of people like climbing Everest more than once. Not that this is the same difficulty level as that, but it does take way longer.
It feels like the Camino is a very purposeful, introspective journey that you're really just going for the walk.
Like when you're in your normal life, your worries are really wide, as in every single thing could be a worry of yours. Like, oh no, I have problems with my family. Oh no, I'm not making enough money, or I gotta pay this bill, or all these things. And when you're on the Camino, your worries are limited to such a small group of things, which is walking, being able to eat every day, and finding a place to sleep. And those are the only 3 things that you have to worry about. The simplicity of it is such a stark contrast.
Yeah, it's like almost a form of escapism. But in the process of escaping your normal lives, the real stuff, the stuff that you've been avoiding or not taking care of, come to light, I think.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Honestly, at the end of our last one, I didn't think we were gonna do it again. I really didn't. Right, like was this a big old waste of time? And
less than a year later.
that's all we got for today. Anything else? You got any other thoughts?
We both somehow managed to get food poisoning. Something that we ate last night from the market just wrecked us. How are you feeling? Day 4.
We spent all day just lying in bed. I mean, you've probably had food poisoning before, right? Like, this one was bad. You know how it feels. There's no need to go in depth about that.
Couldn't go anywhere. We couldn't walk. We couldn't do anything, so we lost a whole day. So for us to be able to make it to Santiago on time and the time that we have, we do unfortunately we gotta keep walking today. I don't know how far we're gonna make it. I don't know.
Today definitely feels a lot more challenging than the first few days. I think we're just both walking very slowly and we're feeling very insular. Every trip comes with its good and bad. We just didn't expect our momentum to be lost so quickly.
Smells very much like Wisconsin out here.
It's days like this in the Camino that make you wonder why you even wanted to do this thing in the first place. It's embarrassing, but we really considered quitting right here. But I'm so glad we didn't. Something had to change, though.
After 2 days on the central route, I gotta be honest, I'm kind of missing the coastal route. We're like 13 kilometers in. It's been a pretty good day of walking. Just need a break. You know, everywhere that we've been so far, we've just been constantly blown away by the hospitality of the Portuguese people. Everywhere that we go. They've been invariably super nice, super welcoming. They're closing up shop here right now. And they were like, oh, you guys are on the Camino? No problem. Just like, come and have a seat at our beautiful outdoor cafe. No problem. The real thing that we're thinking about all day today, and the thing we've been talking about a little bit as we've been walking, and I think we finally need to make a decision is, are we going to go back to the coastal route?
We debated back and forth for over an hour until we finally decided.
Okay, decision made. Let's go.
If there's one thing that we learned from our last Camino, it's that you have to find your own way to do this thing.
We're at a train station. Let me explain. We decided after walking a couple of days on the coastal route and a couple of days on the central route that we just really miss the coastal route. That's just where our heart is, and that's just what we enjoyed the most. Really, the ocean is calling us, so we're taking a train back to Viana do I'll learn. Viana do Castello.
Now, hold on before you start angrily typing on your keyboard. I know what you're thinking. Oh, these guys cheating again and taking a train. Huh, look at that. Just before you get all up in arms, I'll have you know that this actually added distance to our Camino. Not that it matters, I mean, the Camino is not a competition. There's no, like, Camino championship trophy for the person who slept outside with no tent in the rain and walked all the way from Timbuktu to get here. It couldn't be less about that. There is no one right way.
That coastal breeze, so nice.
This is more like it.
We're on the coast now. A double room in the Hotel Jardín in Viana do Castello, and it is so cute. Check this out. Viana do Castello. So pretty.
Moving to the coastal route just felt right. The food poisoning had mostly passed, and we felt ready to take on the rest of this thing. Ocean view. I mean, we've come a long way from the thoughts of quitting just this morning.
This town just looks so beautiful. We're gonna go get some dinner. There's just all these cool red roofs, and then there's like the big ocean, and then there's like, oh, it's so cool. All right, come on. We're in an Italian restaurant right now that we just hopped into. It's like one of the few places that is open on a Sunday afternoon. They got all sorts of pizzas and delicious stuff.
Thank you. I was not expecting them to be so big.
Yes. Yes.
You know what time it is.
Wine and recline.
Except I'm drinking coconut water because...
We'll see you tomorrow. All right, so it's day 6 here on our Camino, and today we're taking a Camino to Caminha, about 23 kilometers from here. It'll just be a nice day of walking. Seems like really nice weather. One thing that we did notice, and the thing we got to start out with today, is right when we got here yesterday, there was one super long line for one pastry shop, and it was the only place in town that was packed. So we're gonna go there right away and see what's up. How exciting.
So we're taking a little bit of a detour today off of the Camino path. Last night at the pizza parlor, the woman there told us, you have to go to the church up on top of the hill here. It is the most beautiful. Adds a couple of miles, but I think it'll be worth it.
Well. Gonna get into our baked goods before we head in there. So we got the pasta de nata, delicious Portuguese egg tart. It's like sweet on top and also charred on the top, like you can see. Yeah, it's perfect.
This church is incredible. The woman at the pizza parlor was absolutely correct.
Church always looks so super big from the outside, but when you're inside, it actually feels very like intimate, very small once you get on the inside. And it had this cool machine where you put 20 cents in and then it lit up a candle for you electronically, automatically. I appreciate the technology involved with that. So you can actually see our hiking path that we're gonna take all the way to Camino today. One road down there for 16 miles. We're just gonna follow it all the way up the coast.
But first, there was something that I had to do.
I will go.
Good luck.
Thanks, bye. Staircase is a little tight. This way? I wonder if my backpack can even fit. That was pretty snug. Oh my god, that was incredible. Look at this view. Let me get my face out of it. It's just one of those things on the Camino that's just so like magical. We had no idea this town existed. We had no idea that this gigantic church on the top of a hill existed, but this is the coolest thing we've done yet. The only problem is now I gotta go back down that. If you're claustrophobic, this is probably not the experience for you, unfortunately. But if you're lucky enough to not be afraid of those tight spaces, this is pretty awesome. Okay. Oh my God. I'm stuck. I'm stuck. Okay, gotta back up. Okay. Did I lose anything? I definitely got stuck. Oh, my heart's racing so fast. That was awesome.
While I was busy on my stair climbing adventure, Lisa had been sitting and watching this lovely man set up his gigantic old-timey camera.
And this couple happened to be getting their photo taken. And it turns out he's been doing this for 60 years. He's 93, I think is what they said.
Tá, finish.
Oh.
Tá. 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Okay, we walk around.
Manuel.
Manuel.
E tu?
Lisa.
Elisa.
Lisa.
Josh.
Obrigada.
Oh, thank you.
Wow. This is probably the best souvenir ever. I don't know him, but I feel like I know him now. He said to, keep doing this for 10 minutes.
That whole experience was just awesome. The giant church, the old man with the photo skills, everything about that was great. But we got to get back to the path. We haven't even covered any distance at all today, and it's already so we still have 23 kilometers to go. So we got a long hike today. Still shaking. Shake it like a salt shaker.
I'm loving the difference in trails that we've already encountered today. I mean, we started off on the coast in a very city-esque area, and then we headed straight uphill. And now we're in this eucalyptus forest.
Smells so good.
Smells really good. And you can hear the ocean right next door, which is, I love the coast. I think we made a good decision.
Bueno, first palo.
Nice.
I wonder what they call it in Portuguese.
You know, we've been thinking a lot over the last few days about if where we're choosing to sleep, as in hotels versus albergues or hostels, has affected our overall Camino experience. It's been just us for the past 100K, and we've only seen one other pilgrim the whole time. Meeting other people was such a big part of our last experience, and we want it to be a part of this one. It's time to get out of the hotels and into the hostels.
So today might be the first day on our Camino that we're going to be staying in an albergue or a hostel here. We stayed in several on the Camino Frances, and they're definitely a huge part of the experience. It's definitely where you meet the most people, and I think now that we're feeling a little bit better from our food poisoning, I think we're feeling ready to stay in an albergue. It wouldn't be fair to the rest of the people if the shared bathrooms were just hogged by the two of us.
Now it's time to do a quick rundown of all the options and prices of the different places to stay on the Camino.
So we're doing this thing in February of 2023 right now, and I think the prices for the accommodations kind of reflect that. This is definitely off-season on the Camino. So I'll start from the cheapest ones and go all the way to the most expensive ones. So the cheapest ones are definitely like the public albergues that are here specifically just for the pilgrims, and you actually have to show a pilgrim's passport to stay at them at all. Those are like 6 to 10 euros per night for a bunk bed, and then after that are the private albergues or the hostels, and those are somewhere between like 10 to 25 euros per night depending on how big of a city that you're in when you're staying. After that are the private budget hotels or guest house, bed and breakfast. They're all about the same thing. And all of them are somewhere between like 40 and 60 euros a night. We've been staying in those exclusively up until tonight, and our average has been this much per night. All right, that's enough talking about numbers. Let's get moving. I think we're like halfway through with our walk for today. We're going, I think in total, probably just a little under 30 kilometers after the bonus top of the mountain awesome church that we went to. It's gonna be definitely a long day of walking.
So you're probably not walking 30 kilometers in your average day in your normal life. In fact, in our normal lives, we don't walk 3 kilometers in a day. It took a few days to get our Camino legs under us, but even with absolutely zero preparation, our bodies just figured it out.
This part of the trail is a lot more rugged and, I mean, completely isolated than I thought it was going to be. But wow, are the views incredible.
Today was long, but it felt easy. The scenery was beautiful, the weather was perfect, and the coastal route was super fun and also kind of challenging.
What in the world? A little touch and go there. I felt like we were in some kind of jungle. That is hopefully where we will go take our rest break and stop for some food. Still got a long ways to go after. We gotta take a break.
It's like 4 o'clock right now. That just means basically every restaurant's closed. They're open usually from like 11 to 2 and then from like 7, maybe 6. But we just keep finding these beautiful towns, these beautiful little seaside towns one after each other. Just wish we would show up at a better time. This is exactly what I was hoping for. I'm so excited right now. It's a perfect spot.
Tortilla and a pork fillet sandwich is what we got. We had this almost every day on the Camino Francés, so it's nice to see. It's like potatoey, eggy, so good.
And just look at our view. Like, I just don't want to leave this place. It's so beautiful. I know we got like 5 more miles to walk or whatever, but
Looking back, this was my favorite meal of the entire trip. Make sure to stop here if you get the chance.
Perfect rest stop, and the people that own the place were so kind, super friendly. It's amazing how I just feel like when we're traveling in different places and we don't really speak the language that well, I crave a friendly smile, and the small gestures go a long way, like just extending a hello when we have no idea what we're doing. Hello, getting out of your way. Oh my goodness. Okay, this part of the walk is truly incredible. We're by the ocean, and then they're just families of goats surrounding us, just wandering and eating. What is this place? It's so magical.
so all in all today, we're walking like 33 kilometers or like 20 miles today. Whew. My feet are absolutely tired, but you know, I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad. Like at the end of a day like this on the first Camino, we were just a big bag of complaints at the end of the day like that. Now, I think I'm honestly just really excited to make it to our place to stay tonight and finally meet some other pilgrims.
We just met our first friend on the Camino. Yeah, the first person we've met and actually chatted with who is also doing the Camino. It's a great sound. Oh. Go up the stairs directly in the entrance and down the passageway to the first door on the right, the skylight room.
Well, oh, wow.
It smells awesome in here. Like it smells like lavender. We've got a private room with shared bathrooms downstairs, and there's a full-on kitchen, but it all cost about $42.
The other guy at the hostel already went to bed.
So, it's just us.
Wow, it's chilly. Well, it looks like everything's closed, or yeah, it is freezing. I think we're just gonna go grocery shopping, and this time not get the deli food. This time cook at home.
Bingo dolce. Look at us making healthy choices today. Okay, mostly healthy choices.
This toilet, this pasta sauce. Please subscribe. Another good day. It is now time to wine or beer and recline.
Fruit juice, recline. On the table here, there's this game. Conversation game. Ready?
Born ready. If calories didn't exist and all food was healthy, what would you eat more of? Cereal.
Noodles. I love noodles in all forms.
Okay, let's do a quick lightning round. 3 questions. You get a maximum of 2 words for your answer.
Okay.
What does the world need more of?
Empathy and love.
Breakfast cereal. What song do you say is the theme song of your generation? I think some Linkin Park.
I'll be there for you.
Long day. It's like 8:30 and we're definitely gonna go to bed right now. So, thanks so much for watching. See you tomorrow. Okay, so the photo that we've got is definitely of that mountain, and it's these benches. I think it's gonna be one of these boats. What's up, Scotty? This was a beautiful way to start the day.
Yes.
Yes, I think.
Thank you for the
Thank
very
you.
nice morning.
Where were we? We stayed the night in Camino, and the only way to get from Camino up the coast to complete the rest of the Camino along the coast is to actually take a taxi, a water taxi, up to Aguarda, which is where we are right now. So that's what we did. That was Portugal. That's where we were just 20 minutes ago. Now we're in Spain.
And just like that, our Spanish Camino had begun.
Look at this thing. Feels like since making it into Spain that the Camino energy is a bit more prevalent here. So far, we've been walking through this town for 10 minutes. 20 people have told us one Camino with a big smile on their face. It just feels so good.
Wow, this is so incredible. This route is so cool, so dynamic, and yet even though it's so different from the Camino Frances, there are so many pieces about it that tie all of them together and make me feel like, yeah, we're all on this amazing journey together.
The trail kept winding between coast and forest for miles and miles. It was really good to be back on the coastal route. But we kept thinking about just how different this Camino felt from the last one.
Before we started our last Camino, all the stuff, all the information that we saw online and from talking to people was that the Camino was this massive undertaking. And that a lot of it was going to be just like suffering, grinding through these problems throughout endless hours of walking in the sun. And when we got on the Camino and we saw all these other people doing basically an entirely different Camino experience, it was easy to kind of feel like, hey, those guys are doing it wrong. They shouldn't be able to have fun. They're supposed to be doing something really hard every day. And a lot of the comments that you'll see on our first Camino documentary, they reflect that perspective of that there's only one right way to do the Camino. But our mind state throughout this one has been so focused on just enjoying the experience for what it is. From that perspective, we've had an absolute blast since the day we left out. And I'm looking forward to walking every single day. So we're like 10 kilometers into our walk today. Just been a beautiful, perfect weather walk the entire time. We came across our first stop of the day. And this is what I always imagine as being like the best place to stop in the middle of the day. It's this beautiful seaside cafe. Food for like 3 to 4 euros. Beer for like €1. Just the perfect break. Yes. We are back in tortilla land.
We're almost to the Albergue. We walked 16 miles today. I'm ready to just kick off my shoes and go.
I thought I had lost it. Thank you. My hat had blown off like a mile back and I thought I had lost it forever. Like it was just in my pocket and then it just was gone. This super nice lady on this electric bike was just, I guess, probably riding the Camino. She rolled up, she's like, "Is this your hat?" I was like, "Yeah!" So nice, so nice. Camino provides once again. It's hard to explain why that's amazing, but we're in this awesome little private albergue, right? This is an albergue, so beautiful little bunks with privacy curtains that are pretty nice. It's so comfortable, everything's so clean and everything's so nice. It's supposed to be really cold here tonight. I think it's gonna be 36 degrees in this town overnight, so bed.
We grabbed a quick dinner from the snack bar down the street, and then just called it a night. Tried our best to stay warm. Since we had been walking such long hauls the days before, we decided to slow things down a bit today.
Today's our shortest day of the Camino by far. We're walking from Villa de Suso, 8 kilometers up the coast to a 4-star resort called the Talasso Atlantico. Now generally this resort costs like $300 or $400 per night, but they had some special deal going on this time of year and it's only $70 per night today, so we figured, why not?
Nice! Yay, we're almost there! It looks so massive and fancy, and I really, really hope we're not the only people dressed like this there. I did hear a lot of people from the Camino would stop here for a night or two for their rest, so here's hoping. 5 miles still feels good to take a walk. This is the fanciest place we've ever spent on the Camino. Beautiful decor, a little workstation. There's a bathroom, but honestly, let's not even faff about here. What? We were just walking there. Sun's still up. That's nice.
I feel like I just pressure washed my whole body. Feels like a big bowl of jello.
Creme brulee. Wow.
You know, spending a few hours in a hot tub after walking over 150 kilometers in just 6 days feels like putting on fresh laundry right out of the dryer. It's like you didn't know being so comfortable was even possible. Our sore muscles soothed and food poisoning just a distant memory, we geared up and headed out the door. We'd rested up and we're now ready to face the final boss of the Camino, ourselves and boredom.
Today might be one of our longer walking days. We'll see how things go, but we're gonna try to make it all the way to Vigo today, which is about 26 kilometers.
We did all the usual stuff. We ate some bread, walked 20 or so miles, saw some incredible views, showed up at a cafe right before they were closing because we still can't figure out the timing here. And we found a spot. We found a spot. Had some delicious food and just kept walking. For us internet and device addicted folks, boredom and the slow pace of the Camino is a blessing and a curse. We're just not used to disconnecting for this long, and on day 9, both on this Camino and the last one, our brains were just starved for the usual digital entertainment and always available distractions that we're used to having. It's honestly a crutch.
Hi. I'm bored. I know. It's illegal to say that.
I think this problem affects everyone who walks the Camino in this day and age, but it's especially pronounced for us here because we haven't really talked to another human since we started this thing. It's honestly sad and pretty embarrassing to talk about, but this right here is the juice of the Camino for us, the tipping point between our old lives and our Camino lives. It feels like avoiding boredom is the primary thing we usually spend our time doing, and that any downtime or non-productive time is just wasted time, right? That part might be a specifically American affliction, but like why? In the age of instant gratification, the age of indulgence that we all live in, a world where the newest Apple product is a headset that makes it essentially impossible to tell the difference between the digital and real world, shouldn't this Camino thing be a relic of the past? I mean, just look at these stats. 414,000 people walked this thing in 2022. And it's been growing significantly since 1986, but why? It's the polar opposite of basically everything that's popular today. It's slow, it's uncomfortable, it's disconnected, and it takes a super long time to complete. The more we thought about it though, maybe that's exactly why it's so popular today. It's everything that our normal lives aren't. On any given day in our normal lives, we're worrying about so many different things, it gets exhausting, but also it just kind of becomes normal over time. Have I talked to my friends recently enough? When's the last time I called my grandparents? How long can we keep this YouTube thing going before we go totally broke? Did I update my health insurance? Am I working out enough? Did I pay rent? I really need to get healthy. I should do my taxes. God, my neck feels weird lately. Do I have cancer? I would suspect that most of your lives have a similar amount of worries. I mean, shoot, probably a lot more. Out here, you're just doing the most straightforward thing possible every day. And you have all the time in the world to really think without all that outside noise. I mean, I'm obviously totally projecting here, right? But you get the idea. All that thinking made day 9 just fly by. We had walked a whopping 30K, including these surprise 300 steps right at the end.
Una reserva para una noche, ¿verdad?
Sí.
To search for box number 5.
Okay. That was so fascinating. I've never checked in like that before. I might have a blister.
We booked a double bedroom. They gave us 2 twins. That will not stand.
We have completed a double room. That's it, folks. We made it, and that's all that matters.
On day 10, we had a rest and work day and realized just how much easier it had become to focus. All this disconnection had started to shift our perspective on work in a really good way.
We definitely could have made the journey to Redondola today. It would have been a shorter, like 16-kilometer walk maybe. Getting caught up with some work to hopefully get those videos to you soon, and laundry and, you know, admin day and churro day.
I think that's because we're on airplane mode almost all the time out here and we're finally starting to slow down. And I gotta say, a few days without all the usual noise and 93 different group chats and 45 different apps felt pretty great. I feel like I got my brain back for the first time in a long time. And for a person with ADHD, that's basically a miracle. Well, some of my brain back. On day 11, we were ready to get out the door for a pretty big day.
Today's a super important marker for the Camino. This is the last 100 kilometers that we have until we reach Santiago. And this is the bare minimum amount that you have to walk to make it an official pilgrimage. Which means you gotta start getting 2 stamps per day, stamping at every single place that you go.
Which means we're stopping way more.
Yeah. And it means that we've only got like 4 or 5 days left, you know? Like we're almost at the finish line of this thing. We can see it, we can feel it. Today should be a nice, easy 10-ish mile walk on the coastal route. And then after today, we're on the central route for the entirety of the rest of the trip. And every other route actually comes back to the central route after today in Redondela.
I don't know how to say it. Redondela?
Redondela, Ronald McDonald Dilla.
No. That was our first marker of the day, and it told us we are less than 100 kilometers away from Santiago, which is wild to think about. But it's also weird. It feels less momentous. Maybe because we're out in the middle of nowhere, around no other pilgrims. I'm hoping once we get to Redondela, it feels a little bit more, I don't know, like that parade feeling.
After spending most of this journey in solitude and, well, with each other, and slowly losing our minds in the process, we were hoping that making our way back to the central route would mean meeting other peregrinos and finding the connection to the Camino and to other people that we'd been missing.
This is the problem with these shots, is they look super cool the whole time, but you always gotta go back and get the camera, you know? Just...
I mean, don't get me wrong, we enjoy each other's company, but sometimes you need another perspective to realize just how friggin' weird you've become. Along today's walk, we met some other pilgrims and realized just how little real connection we had had, and how grateful we were to have other people to talk to in real life.
There's other people.
Camino has this magical way of bringing out the best in people, and there was no better proof of that than what we saw just a few miles down the road.
Buen Camino! That's just the coolest thing. So, these guys are apparently from Camino, which takes people with disabilities on the Camino, and they just bike them the entire way. I love this community. It's so great.
Our hearts full, we were finally present and connected with the Camino. I mean, it took 11 days to get here, but we had found the rhythm. From this point, the Camino felt easy. We had fully settled into the Camino routine. Get up early-ish, pack up, eat a small breakfast, Vaseline those feet, put on those walking shoes, and then load up and head out the door. Get a little bit lost.
I think we go this way?
Sure.
Check the app to get us back on track. I mean, TLDR about the apps, use the Buen Camino app for planning and finding places to stay, and then use Camino Tool for navigation. Get some water, then just keep following the yellow arrows, stop at a cafe around noon.
Oh, cafe! Lunch stop?
Might as well. Man, we got so much good stuff. So this is the tiny donut filled with cream. I think that stopping at little cafes just like this one along the Camino is, for me, the best part of the day.
Get our stamp, load back up, and keep walking through beautiful Spain until we make it to our hotel after like 20 kilometers of walking. It truly is the good life. I mean, just look at us acting all expert-like after just 12 days of this.
So we're about 10 kilometers, 9 kilometers away from Pontevedra, and we kind of roughly decided, well, let's let that be our stop and we'll see kind of how we feel. There's one private hostel that looks really cool. It's a capsule style, has a privacy curtain, and importantly, provides sheets and blankets.
All right, so at the last 20 minutes, the last like 2 kilometers until we get there. And this part either feels incredibly easy, like it just flies by, or it just feels like you're dragging, like, oh, are we there yet? Today felt pretty good, especially because I know that in like 20 minutes, I'm gonna be sitting down at a cool bar, having a beer or maybe a glass of wine and some nice snacks, just celebrating the end of a nice long walk.
An easy day of walking, a cool hostel.
Ta-da. How's it going up there?
Should have did best of 3.
A warm shower. It's siesta time.
That's my favorite part of the day by far. Dinner time.
Still daylight.
There's even a Burger King, but that just feels wrong. You know, originally we thought the cities were all just kind of dead, but in reality we were just always early. A lot of these restaurants, they don't open until 8 p.m. Some of them 8:30, some of them 9. Then as soon as we'd be about ready to go to bed, the city would just like, clearly that means we have to go here. We've been walking around for like 45 minutes and it's not a lot's open, but this English pub is.
I think I heard the clock bell ring 8 times. It's time for dinner.
Oh my god, do you see that? What? It's around this time of day, like 9:30, that we start really crashing. Something about like walking all day in the sun and not drinking nearly enough water and then having like a big glass of red wine and some pasta really puts us to sleep. Can't imagine why.
Gracias. Bye.
Okay, today is day 13 and we're heading from Ponte Vedra all the way up to Caldas de Reis. That means that after today, there's only 2 days left of the Camino. Which is crazy to think about.
They went by so fast.
And we're starting today off strong with some pasta de nata that we just picked up.
Turns out they're also here in Spain, and there's different flavors. She asked me qué sabor, and I was like, oh, there's different flavors. I didn't even know. Tradicional, chocolate, and naranja, or orange.
The best part of waking up, pasta de nata in a cup.
Oh, that's good. Orange, surprisingly really good.
First we're hopping in the church, we're getting our first stamp of the day, and then we are on the road. I think we're walking like 24K today, so it should be a nice like 4, maybe 5 hour walk, depending on how long we take.
Hopefully no rain. We are going up to the top of the church. It's very narrow.
Anyway, onwards.
Feels like our feet are so light today. I shouldn't say this so soon, but just this day and 2 more full days and we're in Santiago. I can't believe how fast it's gone. It's wild. Gotta savor it today. We found our first truly roadside cafe slash bar on the route, and it's this really cute, peaceful place in the middle of nowhere. And everyone here, you can tell, also is stopping because they've been walking a long time already, or they're just ready for a glass of wine or coffee, and I am too.
So we walked 8 miles already. We're like halfway through our day of walking, I think. And I can't think of a more perfect place. We're talking giant empanada. We're talking rustic artisanal bread. We're talking a comical amount of soup. The Camino provides today, for sure.
I can't finish all of this.
I love this place. Uh-oh.
You're gonna have to roll me to Santiago.
We were getting close, really close. On our last Camino, we felt like it couldn't end fast enough. On this one, though, we just wanted it to keep going on forever.
Woo! Our first sign for Santiago de Compostela. 40 kilometers! Okay, well, actually, this one says 51. For cars, it's 40. Under 50K! Under 50K! Yeah! I don't know if it's because I know there's only just 2 more days left of this. I just feel like everything looks incredibly beautiful. The green feels extra green. The vines, even though they're not growing anything right now. And the mountains are incredible and the sky is just blue. I could definitely see us doing the Camino again. Maybe making this a tradition once or every other, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't spike the ball at the, what is it? Spike the ball at the 5-yard line? At the 5-yard line, but feeling pretty good today.
Every single day as we leave from an incredibly beautiful town, a lot like this one, really cool construction, usually some awesome bridge that we walk over, and then we're just out in farmland for like 4 to 5 hours walking nonstop. And then always we end up at another beautiful city, incredible bridge to walk across. You think it'd get old after a little while, but it definitely doesn't.
This is our pension for the night. Whoa. It is now 9 p.m. because we accidentally fell asleep for like 4 or 5 hours. When we were walking through Pontevedras yesterday on the way out, someone stopped us and told us, "Oh, are you on the way to Caldastereas?" And we said, "Yeah." And they said, "You have to visit the thermal hot springs. There's a place where you can dip your feet. Apparently the waters are healing." So we're gonna try to find it.
Okay, so we were totally gonna record that, and it was really cool looking, but there was a surprising amount of drunk naked people in there. So, yeah, we couldn't show it to you, but what I would recommend is that if you're gonna do that, do it during the day instead of at night, because it seems like things there get pretty funky at night. But since I know you still want to see it because it's really cool looking, we're gonna put footage of it from daytime right here, even though it's nighttime right now, if
there are less naked people there in the daytime.
There were indeed a lot less drunk naked people in the morning.
Behold our fancy dinner. Okay, it is now time to wine and recline.
What a spicy evening we've had already. Very unexpected.
Yeah, a lot more nudity than we expected to have.
Yeah. That's all.
Yeah, so that's it for today. We'll see you tomorrow.
There it is.
Okay, this is day 14 of the Camino. This is actually our second to last day. We're under 50 kilometers remaining. We're probably walking like 20 today.
Yeah.
More than likely to Padrone, but with the weather the way it is right now, I don't know. We might stop earlier, we might stop a little later.
But before we get any further, we must have a little bit of a moment of silence for our Paulo, who made it with us for the vast majority of the journey. And of course, right before Santiago, like fools, we left him behind.
Got everything?
I think so. Phone.
Last chance. Yeah, but hopefully the next pilgrim that comes into that room is gonna see that sweet walking stick and be like, oh yeah, let's pause for a moment to remember our Paulo.
Up to now, there's been one big looming question that we've been avoiding answering. It's the big one. Camino Portuguese versus Camino Frances.
All right, before we get started with this section, I just want to hit you with a Teddy Roosevelt quote. Comparison is the thief of joy. And I think that perfectly applies to the Camino. Like, no matter which one of these two options that you choose, you're gonna have a great time.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a great time. They're all wonderful in their own kind of specific ways. There's no bad choice. But the one way to guarantee that you could have a bad time on the Camino is if you choose one of these and the whole time you're walking you're thinking, ooh, I wish I had picked the other one. Okay, let's start with the one that we're on right now, the Camino Portuguese. So this is either about a 600 kilometer or about a 250 kilometer walk or bike, depending on if you start from Lisbon or Porto. If you're coming from Lisbon, it'll be just over 30 days. If you're starting from Porto, about 15. I think some of the really cool specific draws for the Camino Portuguese are definitely the coastline that you get to experience along the way. And also, we found it's got a lot more of a relaxed vibe. And because there's only 20% of the total amount of pilgrims doing it, there's a lot more long stretches where you just don't see anyone else. So if you're looking for more of that like solo experience, Camino Portuguese is pretty great for that.
When you think about the Camino, I think the Camino Frances is what you think about. It's definitely the most popular one, and obviously based on its name, it starts in France. A lot of people start off in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, France, and make their way the whole 790 kilometers all the way to Santiago. The Camino Frances feels like the heart and soul of the Camino, but because it's so built up to house pilgrims or peregrinos along the way. You're walking through a lot of small Spanish villages, a lot of beautiful nature like this, and really if you're looking to meet other people or fellow pilgrims along the way, the Camino Frances feels like the place to do that.
So this church is closed. Looks like it hasn't been open for a long time, but it has a little box on the front that says, put in some money and it'll turn the lights on.
Okay.
Here we go. It didn't turn the lights on.
Oh, maybe those lights are
Yeah.
supposed to go on?
It didn't do it, but you can imagine it. We'll just... Yeah.
Maybe we're gonna have to cross another busy highway.
Maybe up there?
Across the Portuguese and the Frances routes, we found that the costs were pretty similar. Some of the albergues and some of the hotels here are a little bit more expensive, like the private ones, but not by very much. And food-wise, the menus of the day, the pilgrim's meal, all run about everywhere from 7 to 12 euros per person.
You could do the Camino for like what we're doing, which is like $100 per day, which includes eating out every single meal, staying at a kind of nice budget hotel with a private room. You could do it as cheap as like $15 per day for one person, which would just be staying at the municipal albergues and eating groceries. We got like 7 kilometers, I don't know, under 5 miles left to go.
Yay! Under 30.
We're the only ones in the entire hostel. There's 34 single beds in the dorm. There's a couple of private rooms. It's incredibly nice. I can imagine when it's very busy season, which she said in April, August and July are the busiest times of the year. I can imagine this place just being so full of life and energy. She was lovely.
It's so much Spanish. Wow, look at you, so proud of you. All right, we made it.
Nice to sit down.
We made it. So now's the time for the final verdict. I guess that sounds so like final and scary. This is what we would do if we were doing the Camino for the first time over again.
I don't even know if we're in agreement. So I go first. I would still do the Camino Frances first. I love the Portuguese way. It's incredibly beautiful. It's a very, very, very unique experience. But the Camino Frances is what like brought me into the spirit and the feeling of the Camino.
Okay, so I think the opposite. I think if I could do this all over again and I only had time to do one Camino, I think I'd do the Camino Portuguese. The variety of the Camino Portuguese, it gives you a little bit of everything, and it starts off so easy that I think it avoids a lot of the problems that so many people encounter on the Camino Frances, that I feel like it would prevent a lot of people from quitting the Camino.
That's so interesting. We are like, the exact opposite. Very personal, I think.
For sure. All right, it's time to go get some food.
Starving.
And then wine and recline right after that. Everyone's favorite time of day. Wine and recline. Woo!
Nothing beats just a simple burger.
You know, seeing this place like this got me feeling both like really happy and also a little bit sad. It's got me feeling a little nostalgic. Wine and recline is... Today we're talking about our favorite moments from this Camino. We'll finish tomorrow.
And I think you were walking ahead and I was just like taking my time in the back, walking slowly, and I was like busy charging my phone, trying to keep all my stuff together. And then I look up and all of a sudden 50 goats all start heading towards the same direction, like towards me, and they're surrounding me on that one little trail. Do you remember that? And it was so beautiful. It was on the coast. The sun was setting. It was incredible.
Yeah.
Baby goats just like jumping.
That's the goat. I think the first thing that I think of is the day that we took the train to get off of the central route, because we weren't having that good of a time and we were just kind of done with it at that point. So we took a train down the coastal route, and then immediately as soon as we get to the town, it's like this incredible, beautiful town with so much good food. And then we go to sleep and we wake up and we start walking, and the next morning is going up to this incredible cathedral at the top of the hill. And it was just such like a perfect treat, perfect reward that the Camino gave us for like choosing to do it our own way.
I think the things that will like leave a lasting imprint with me are actually the people that we met along the way that actually weren't walking the Camino. Even though we didn't share life-changing stories, they were people that made the Camino so special.
So tomorrow is our last day on this Camino that honestly, I'm feeling a little bit sad about it.
Yeah.
I'm feeling like I'm not quite ready. We'll see you tomorrow for the last day of the Camino. All right. today's the last day of the Camino. We walk about 28 kilometers to Santiago. It's raining all day. Off we go.
We picked up our usual bread and headed out into the pouring rain. We were looking at least 4 straight hours of trudging through the rain and mud ahead of us.
Santiago, here we come.
You know, I think had this happened on day 2 or 3, we would have gone back to being that big bag of complaints from the last Camino. It was wet, but who cares? We're on the Camino, and this is just part of it.
Last night I was starting to think, this is a little too easy. A little too easy.
25K to go. We weren't ready for this to be over, rain or shine. We were savoring every little moment, every step, every raindrop. Even this one. Just a little over 10 miles to go. And just when we needed it most, the Camino provided one last time. Okay. Yes! Yes!
This place is perfect.
It's hard to explain how beautiful a place like this feels. It feels like an oasis, like a total oasis. Built specifically for the thing you're doing. They sell all the food that you want. I just ordered a giant pizza. I'm not eating my feelings. I can tell.
That is life-giving.
It's so warm in there. Just wanted to have 2 more beers and fall asleep and live there and move in and eat all their food all the time and never move out and dry out and just become a resident of this town and eventually learn Spanish and then own an estate and then build a hostel on the Camino.
Can we go?
Camino was testing us today to see how bad we want it.
I definitely wanted more café con leches.
Yeah, and sitting in that cafe made me realize I didn't really want it all that bad. I'm still gonna finish, but I would have happily lived there for the rest of my life.
I now know why they call this your last stop.
This is it. The final stretch.
7 more kilometers to go.
$5K left. Just $5K.
Under 4 kilometers away, a couple miles left. Mic check, 1 2 1 2. We're about to get to Santiago. How about you? We are in Santiago.
Maybe a minute or 2 away. It's like right around the corner.
We're here. The bag, do you hear the bagpipes? Oh. I have goosebumps. I have goosebumps. We did it. Yay.
I wish I had the right words to say for this moment right here. Like, I wish I had the perfect way to sum up 260 kilometers of walking. The wonderful people, the happiness, the sadness, the frustration, the rainy days, the sunny days, the beautiful coast,
The food poisoning.
and just also the delicious food, and the wine and the beer, and just
And the people that we
Everything.
kept seeing.
Yeah.
I mean, like, just today, we kept seeing familiar faces, people that we never met, but we saw on the trail from far away, and we waved, hola, buen camino, we're almost there. And we made it at the same time. I have goosebumps.
I wish I had the right words to sum up how this feels. Everything to make it here, to make it right here. It's a beautiful feeling. I don't have the right words to describe it. Once you get here, once you're finished with your Camino, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's worth the trip. It's worth the trip.
Feels like an end and a beginning. It's definitely both. The best part for me is seeing all the other pilgrims who took vastly different routes but all had the exact same experience. You can just tell a pilgrim from here on out you've joined a club. And I can't think of a more giving, more adventurous, more interesting club to be a part of anywhere. Community is incredible. There's a depth, a willingness to look inward, a willingness to face things head on. Call it religious, spiritual, introspective, a kind heart, whatever. We're all pilgrims, always on a Camino.
We did it.
Here we go, best part of the day. Ooh, soggy.
It's time finally to take a shower and get dry.
What are you singing?
From here we put our backpacks down and went over to join the Pilgrim's Mass, see the Tomb of St. James.
Music is so intense.
In the basement is a small silver tomb. This is the resting place that millions and millions of pilgrims have come from literally everywhere on the planet to see. There is a certain something to this place, but my overly scientific mind won't allow me to think any deeper about that feeling. From here we took care of the paperwork. We headed to the Camino DMV to get our Compostela proof of completion of the Camino. It's not like the movies. Nobody asks you why you walked or if you found God or what you learned along the way. In fact, this time, the welcome person just auto-filled in religious/other, and then they send you on your way to have your passport checked for completion. If all's well, you leave with a sweet piece of paper and a brand new name. Mine is now Eosium, apparently.
I am Elizabeth again.
And then it's confirmed. You have successfully completed your Camino. If it feels a little empty, that makes sense. I mean, this thing was never about getting a diploma anyway. And then, of course, we had to make a stop to the actual finish line of the Camino de Santiago.
I know I said this in the documentary that we did, that this is the right place to come at the end of the Camino. And I very much stand by that. You come here, there's other pilgrims, the people here who run it are just incredible. And you just have a place to kind of process the end of this thing that you wouldn't have otherwise. Like, you can come here and you're welcome with just a warm cup of coffee, a place to sit, and just a bunch of other super nice pilgrims who have all just finished the exact same thing that you just did. This is it. This is where the Camino ends. The Pilgrim's House.
And just like that, it's over. I mean, you'd think that your Camino is over, but in reality, this is just the starting point. Heading home, heading back to your normal life is where it really begins.
But don't you worry, we didn't forget the most important part of the day. Okay, this is our last wine and recline. This is the final one, and honestly, I'm a little bit sad.
Yeah.
This for me was my favorite part of every single day. I don't know if it's just because it like gave us an opportunity to just like vomit out all the stuff that
Well,
we
and
talked
also
about
just
every
meant
single
that
day.
we were done with walking at the end of the day, so that's also part of it.
That's true. I really wanted to save the best one for last. Did you know that at the end of the Camino, after you've walked your 260, your 500, your 800, whatever it is kilometers through rain, sleet, ice, snow, all sorts of stuff, that you can get a flight for just 10 euros.
That's a menu del dia.
For just 10 euros from Santiago all the way to Palma de Mallorca. Which I think is a pretty great way to end this. Buen Camino.